the first group of photos are from Liz. Again, the theme is Mexico. And so a little moray and a sponge. Wish Liz were here to. And some grunts. They were Caribbean. I'd say they were French grunts, so, but some sort of grunts, and then a blue striped grunt.
There's two different species there, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, this one. And then this, that's why I said, oh, the one on top. So this,
Yeah, the one on top is blue striped. I think the rest are the maybe French.
that's what I
I'd
was
have to look it up.
thinking. And a tang, nice tang. Boom is a balloon fish, I believe. Nice, nice shot. And this was I believe, a skate or a stingray swimming away. Nice curves here. And a cling crab.
Channel clinging crab.
They get to be pretty big. There's a arrow crab in a sponge. Nice lighting on that to get everything lit. Whoops. Okay. And urchin. It looks like somebody got that urchin earlier. And another tang. Good. I believe this is a blue-eyed hermit crab. Seen a lot of these in St. Vincent, but I didn't see any in Mexico. Now, the next view, Brian was going to try to make it, but he's has another commitment, so I'll be Brian for the evening. Brian, whoops. Sorry. These are from the Sea Cortez. So I, my photos are following this, and I also shot some of these sea lions because it was really a blast. Because I don't know if you've experienced this, the more goofy and outrageous you are underwater, the longer they stay with you. They get bored if you just sort of stay there and try to take their picture. If you just do crazy stuff, going upside down or whatever, they stay there just gawking and I'm sure laughing at you. And there's a close-up of a cushion star, I believe. Ooh, a nice flatworm. Oof, this is a fine spotted jawfish, but look at the size of that rock. It's cleaning out its uh, burrow. Wow. Nudibranch. Oh, with a
And a bunny.
goby. Yeah, nice. And believe some sort of a flavolina, I think. Oof, that's a beauty. Wow. That is very nice. This is some sort of a Tamja nudibranch. One of the common names for this one was a slime nudibranch. Not a great name, but there are a lot of nudibranchs in the Sea of Cortez. A lot of decent size too. This is probably my guess. It could be like 5 inches long. The ray. This could be an electric ray? I think bullseye electric ray.
Torpedo ray?
Looks like the lesser torpedo ray.
It does, but without this spot though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that spot.
Oof. Very nice. and a flower urchin.
I remember
Nice. Those are cool urchins. Now, this next few here are mine. I got a free trip to see a Cortez. You know, those deals at dive shows where you throw your business card into a bowl and, most of the time I think it's like throwing it away in the, in the trash because nothing ever happens. Well, a couple of weeks after, this is beneath the sea in New Jersey. And a couple of weeks later, they contacted me, told me I had a free trip. So just encouraged me to throw those
Nice.
cards out for a long time. Anyway, it's a seahorse and another flower urchin, but this one is releasing probably sperm into the water. Uh, just like ours do the same thing, like all the urchins do. It's released from the top and uh, down current that just causes a chain reaction, and others start releasing eggs and sperm into the water. Another a cushion sea star with little brittle stars all over it. And it's that same fine spotted jawfish. The captain was on the dive with us then. He got down, grabbed some sort of a scallop and cut it open, put it down in front, and this jawfish just jumped right out. I couldn't believe how big of it. My guess would be that it was a foot and a half, 2 feet. It was quite a big jawfish, enough so that it inhaled the shellfish. This is a Cortez stingray. A lot of different kinds of stingrays.
That's
And
pretty.
this this is one that I'm sure we've all had the same situation. It really kind of falls flat on in a color image. It just wasn't, at least with my technical abilities, it really wasn't very good. So I tried with a black and white, and it looked okay as a black and white. But again, this is them. The sea lions are up on the surface, and they are just. We may have been playing around being upside down, and they just went absolutely crazy. This is a Panamic horse conch, and it's eating a murex, the snail. So it's got the snail, and
Pretty.
it wrapped. It has its foot wrapped around it. Yeah, this species of conch is beautiful with a foot that's uh, ultramarine blue spots and then red. There's another one that kind of fell short as a in color, in black and white. It's makes it a little better. There's a Creole fish, I believe, and a Panamic green moray. A lot of different morays in this area. That's a real nice spot. This is a striped goby, or blue, I'm sorry, a blue banded goby. There are a lot of these that are tiny, maybe like 3 inches or so. And a Spanish shawl, and here it is eating the hydroids. So it's feasting on those. And every time I saw any kind of saw them, this nudibranch, it was always on the hydroids. And there's that same nudibranch, the tamja or slime nudibranch. And the last, this is on a sea cucumber, it's a tiny brittle star. It's working its way across. And I know it's not an underwater picture, but the actual, for those of you who have not been to Sea Cortez, the landscape on the side, it's like a painting. It's just all this hillsides are all different tones of red and yellow, and then all over the place are these brown boobies, and they would just on the rigging on the boat they were all over it. So on the side of the any one side, you look and there could be 15 of them sitting. This one sat there for an hour on the stern of the boat, and I was very, very close to it. It could care less. Okay, well, I'll get back to this again. Okay, so now if I turn this over to whoop, Michael, if you want to jump in on,
Can you see it?
yes,
All right. Does that work?
it's not opened yet, but I can see that you're,
We
and we
see
have,
the presenter view.
We're seeing the presenter view.
Okay.
So you need to share the specific screen, the second screen.
Yeah, I shared the presentation. You know what?
Here, go to desktop two. It's on desktop two.
That it? Is that it?
no, it's still the same. Again,
You
but
need to stop your share and try again.
Just get rid of desktop one.
That looks better.
Does that work?
Yeah,
All right.
That's
yes,
it.
perfect.
Just need to figure out how to advance. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So some of these are very old, but so this is from Socorro. This was with my son, and this manta was flying by, and he decided to try and emulate what the manta was doing. So uh, I didn't get much strobe on it, which is why it's a little the color's not ideal. But this was with my old Sony RX100, which you'll see some of the beginning pictures are from that. This is a classic sleeping sharks from Roca Partida in Socorro. So these are white tip reef sharks, and they go to this one spot, and I believe you can almost always find at least several of them there. Also
Wow.
with my Sony RX100.
So how close were you on this? Could you get real close to them? Because you,
Yeah, I mean, I got strobe on them, so I was probably only 3 or 4 feet away.
That's
wow,
really nice lighting.
yeah.
This was a close-up of an oceanic manta eye, which shows how close you can get to them. Also with my Sony, I noticed that at least this individual had a crescent-shaped eye, and I'm not sure if that's normal or not. I'm presuming it is, but I thought that was interesting. So if you do fun stuff with dolphins, they will also stick around a little longer. So my son was rolling around and swimming upside down, and so this bottlenose dolphin uh, took an interest to him, and you can actually see the dolphin looking at him, and I thought that was really cool. Um, Moving on to Cozumel. So this is a hawksbill turtle that's looking for food, and they often have some other fish around them. And when the turtle is ignoring you, then the fish tend to ignore you, and so you can get pretty close. So in the with the turtle, there's a pudding wife in the back, then a French angelfish is the big one, and then there's also a yellowhead wrasse toward the front. And you can see the turtle is looking down, trying to find something to eat.
Hmm.
Moving on to a bit of macro, this is a sea spider, which ironically, this is the only sea spider I think I've ever seen that I knew I saw. These there's over 1,000 species. Some of them can be over a foot in length. The deep sea ones tend to get very big. The ones that we would see in recreational diving tend to be small and they're hard to see. They're actually not true spiders, but they are a relative of them. And this is on living on a hydroid. Spotted cleaner shrimp and a giant anemone, certainly not uncommon, but I thought the pose was kind of nice, and it's not that common to get the most of it in focus. The closer you get, the harder it is to get everything in focus. So there is some pretty good blackwater diving in Cozumel, and that probably started about 5 years ago. And so this is a salp. It has a juvenile fish living inside of it. The juveniles will live in the salps for protection. Um, and this was also with my old Sony.
Oh, great shot.
Another turtle, again, looking for food. This actually won the macro category in a local contest a couple of years ago. This is my sea lion picture from the Sea of Cortez. So this is a juvenile sea lion. It was sitting in a cove, and so it allowed me to get very close to it, much closer than an adult would have let you get. And it kind of had this pose that I thought was kind of cute. Sea of Cortez, this is a school of gray bar grunts. And uh, I did not get the entire school in because my system was not geared to have wide enough of an angle. That's a faux pas if you're shooting schools, is to not have a beginning and an end. But I can claim I got a wall. So if you can't get the beginning and the end, getting a wall is the next best thing. So this is another salp. This is a Cyclosalpa affinis, and you can see it's actually reproducing. So salps alternate between the sexual form and asexual form. So the sexual form is at the bottom. They're the little ones that are kind of budding off. And then the asexual form is at the top. Um, I think can you see my pointer?
Yep.
So this is they say this is a primitive neural structure, primitive brain. I think that's probably going a little bit far, but the neural structures are there, and then the orange is the intestine, and then you can see the sexual forms budding off.
Great shot. Whew.
This is actually shot. It's very uncommon to use a wide-angle lens on a blackwater dive, but it's what I had. So this setup does allow me to get things that are, down to 1 or 2 inches pretty well.
What kind of lens was that?
So it's the Sony kit lens, which is a 26 to 60, and then it's the Nauticam WWL1B. That's the wide angle lens.
Hmm.
Cozumel. So this is a species that I believe is only found in Cozumel. It's a splendid toadfish. Um, I actually didn't like this as much as a lot of people did. I put this online in one of the things and it got a whole bunch of likes, way more than I thought it was going to. So I included it here. Um, I like the fact that you could see some of the coloration of the fins in the back of the fish, which is not something you typically see because they usually are hidden. And then also it was pretty well framed with some colorful sponges. And so I think that helped the appeal a little bit. This is a lettuce sea slug. They are somewhat common if you know where to look for them in Cozumel. The thing that I really was trying to get here was the blue water in the background. You don't often get that with nudibranch shots, but I thought that the blue was really a good contrast to the green, and of course the lettuce sea slug is in a bed of green plant life. I don't know what the species of the plant is. So this is Cozumel also. This is a school of French and white grunts. So that answers the question, Andy. So these in that other one, these were French grunts because these are white grunts. um, so this is just a big school. Again, I didn't get the beginning and the end, more of just the wall. This is my last one. So this is a school of porkfish. These fish actually tend to live in one spot on a dive site in Cozumel, and a friend of mine was there like 6 months different from me, and he shot the same school of fish in literally the same spot. Um, this shot took me about 20 minutes because when I swam up, they scattered a little bit, and then I sat down and had to wait for them to come back and get back together and all face the same direction and settle down. So that's the end of me. So I will turn it over to Virginia.
Hi. Hmm. Sorry. Hello.
Hello.
So this is actually the first time I ever had a camera. And I took it to Isla Mujeres. And so I went ahead and started off with this one. It's a whale shark, and you're able to go snorkeling with them in Isla Mujeres. But no diving. This is Sea of Cortez. I was trying to play a little bit more with the taking off. It always makes me nervous to take off the sunshades off of the big dome port. But I wanted to go ahead and take it on one dive. So I went ahead and took on it on this one since it was more of, I don't remember the name of the dive site. But it was more of like a large, oh, I can't, sorry, I'm really brain dead, right? I'm going to blame jet lag on it. Um, but I liked in the center, we do have the moray eel. And then there's it's the site with all the moray eels. There's actually a couple of moray eels on here. Oh, what happened? So you can see the moray. How do I? Oh. Moray here, and then there's another one hidden here also. And this was the Sea of Cortez. Also the Sea of Cortez. I was just trying to get a black background on it to kind of make it pop. Michael might know more of the species than I do. Also, Sea of Cortez. I think we've seen a couple of this one of the giant jawbone. And I really like to watch them clean out their habitat. Sea of Cortez also, and it was the plume plenty. I just really liked the mohawk on it. And here is a sea lion and Michael. I turned around and I saw the sea lion approaching Michael. Unfortunately, at the time, I had my pointer stick in my hand and I kind of blocked the view a little bit, but Michael liked the photo enough that he did all the hard Photoshop and took the pointer stick out. But it was definitely a lesson for me to really pay attention to where my pointer stick is and making sure it's not getting in my frame. Every time I see it now, it was a lesson because it's such a fun shot to me, and it was just like this great moment. And it was just it had to be a really fast capture. I had a slow shutter speed, but I was able to at least stop some of the motion.
So this is a copy and paste because again we were trying to get this done for tonight. This is not a Coryphaline exoptata because that is a nudibranch. There is no nudibranch in here that I know of.
Also Sea of Cortez, and just kind of playing with the sea lions. And we really had a lot of fun diving with them. Another Sea of Cortez. Do you know what this is?
Hawkfish,
Might
isn't it?
be a hogfish, but I'm not
Hogfish, yeah.
sure.
What is it, Andy?
I think it's a hogfish of some kind.
I just really liked the bright color on it and then the structure in the background. And these are mostly all shot with my Nikon D850. And then Socorro, also the dolphins, playing with them. And I really just liked this one. You can actually see Michael's son, Eric, in the bottom left-hand corner. But they were very playful, and I turned back, and I just like how the dolphin was the star of the show and all the divers in the background. Moving on to Cozumel. This was actually shot with my first underwater camera, which was an A6000, the Sony A6000. And then it was eating away, and I liked actually all of almost what would be backscatter, all the little fish swimming all around it. And then the bright colors of all the different types of sponges and coral you'll find in Cozumel and hydroids. Blackwater in Cozumel, shot with my Nikon D850. It was just a flying fish, kind of more towards the end of the Blackwater diving, kind of as we're getting closer to the surface. Cozumel, the eagle rays, they're in season. I think they run from like November to April, but you can see them throughout the year on occasion. And I just like to kind of the smile and the sun ball. And then this last one is just kind of a seahorse. I just kind of tried to process a little bit fun, a little bit different from Cozumel. So that's all for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Very nice for both of you. And number one, nice images, but number two, thanks for uh, going the extra mile when you're a bit jet lagged and sleep deprived and presenting tonight. So thanks. Thank you very
Well,
much.
we've had a really great time enjoying in Mexico over the years and getting to go to a couple different spots.
On the Blackwater dive, can you describe that a little bit? I mean, how deep do they have you at different stages or?
So the way that we've done the Blackwater in Cozumel is we've done it as drift diving. So we'll go out and they'll set up the buoy and then they'll set up lights at various different lengths, like 15 feet, 40 feet, 60 feet, and the bottom buoy will be the deepest that they kind of want you to go. Obviously, you can go deeper since you're just going along with the drift. So they'll drop the buoy in the water and you'll be able to see it from the boat and then kind of wait like 15, 20 minutes, kind of letting everything be attracted by the really bright, bright lights. And because that's what's really attracting all of everything you're taking photos of. So it's really being attracted by the bright lights. And so then at that point, after 15 minutes or so, then they'll drop in the divers. The operation, well, we've done it with a couple different operations in Cozumel at this point. And then they just let you drift along. So you'll go all kinds of distances and you don't really feel that you're going because you're just drifting along with everything else and you don't really have any way to, you're not seeing any coral, you're not seeing, anything besides just the black. And so you'll kind of swim along, you'll get distracted, you'll see a squid and go follow it, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm going to actually turn it over to Michael because I am not speaking well.
Well, she already covered most of it, but yeah, so one thing about blackwater diving is you can go up and down and up and down and up and down and really mess up your ears if you're not careful in one dive. Most of them tend to be 90 minutes in length. You can go up to the boat in the middle if you want, and then go back down. And you are somewhat on your own. And yeah, so when we've done it in Florida, we've had sharks show up on occasion. Not big ones, but 4 or 5 footers. Um, and they did not attack anybody, but they did bump some people, which was a little unnerving for the people that got bumped.
We saw a shark in Cozumel too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did see a shark in Cozumel.
Um, so yeah, you usually go out right when it's starting to get dusk. So you meet when it's the end of the day, do a little briefing, head out when it right at dusk, because you know that transition happens relatively quickly. And then you're on the water by the time it's, just starting to get dark. There have been some people that have looked at diving at different times.
Mhm.
Obviously, the later you are, the harder it is to get up and dive the next day. Some of the dedicated Blackwater trips, they will only dive Blackwater, and they may do 2 trips a night or 2 dives a night. And then that'll take you till, probably midnight easily.
Wow. Well, those Blackwater, all your images were good, but the Blackwater ones were pretty amazing.
Yeah, people tend to really think they're cool. It gets a bit monotonous. Of course, somebody could say muck diving you know, in Bali can get monotonous too, I guess. But you do see a lot of different things, but it's harder to find out what they are. There are a couple of good resources now that didn't exist until fairly recently to help people understand what you're actually seeing. But
Yeah.
basically, everything that lives on the reef until it grows up, it's out there in the Blackwater. And the Blackwater is the largest migration of they say, and it happens every night, largest migration of animal life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and trying to find a key or a book that will deal with planktonic stages is yeah.
So Linda Ianello, and I may not have pronounced your name right, and then she has one, and Mike Bardick has one. So they both have books out. Linda posts a lot on her Facebook page, so that's another great resource.
Michael runs the Facebook group.
There are Facebook groups. Mike Bardick runs one of them, and you can post stuff there. And of all the places, there are more real card carrying scientists that pay attention to that because they have only caught this stuff in nets, and they're fascinated and learning by what we're seeing out there more so than the daylight stuff because that's been relatively well characterized, whereas this is all more cutting edge new.
Right, for sure. Because if they're getting it in a net, it's already damaged by the time they get to see it, and then you just theorize how it should look. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had a guy write to me when I put that SALP out with the asexual and sexual forms. He wrote me and he said he'd seen the ones they'd caught, but he'd never seen it in real life. Um, and so he thanked me for posting that one.
Wow. Well, again, thank you, thank you, and the other presenters who are not here, I do appreciate them sending me images. You were not here in the very beginning, but I will send rather than go through the whole spiel with everyone already again. I'll send you something because there's a couple of spots open, or one really, but where uh, I won't bother anyone with the details, but I'll get in touch with you for possible other submissions. So you and Virginia can now unplug, go to sleep, and we'll see you next month.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
And everyone else, there was one talk at the end of the last meeting about a photo contest, but I kind of hesitate getting into that. I mean, Because I just don't think we have enough people to, when you break it down to categories and participants, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd be glad to be wrong on it, but it doesn't seem like we have that much to run a contest where you get a small pool. We can do other things. One of the things that Michael mentioned was photo critiquing, and so I'd be willing to give that a try, get a few photographs, and then people can make suggestions on how they think it should, how it could be improved. So anyway, this would be the first time we're ending kind of early. So,
I just want to let you know that Brian and Liz have joined us.
well, they have.
Yes, they are here.
I don't. Okay. Oops. All right.
Snuck in.
Okay.
go.
Well, great images. Right.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you, okay. Yeah. All right. Good, good. Yes, great image of the Sea Cortez. And you know, when you mentioned to me about the Sea Cortez, I thought early on when we talked about getting a theme night on Mexico, all I was thinking with blindfolders, I was just thinking Caribbean. I was not thinking Sea Cortez, which, you know, I had a great trip, 2012, and it was a fun trip. And I started going through old pictures to have something for tonight. Anyone have any other thoughts or anything that you'd like to share? No? Okay. Well,
If anything, the photos are great.
good. Thanks. I thank you for everyone.
Where was Liz's photos taken at? I mean, I know Mexico, but were they Cozumel? Were they, now that she's here?
Really?
Taken in Cozumel, and um, uh, there, I'm sure you all saw a lot of them were kind of blurry. It was my first time trying to shoot kind of wide angle, um, and I'm still trying to figure out the right settings for it. But some of them I thought turned out sort of cool, so I figured I'd share them.
Oh, you did. Well, thank you for sharing. You had some great shots there. So, and again, now that we have a whole bunch of people, they, I see a lot of women here. Think about participating in, I forget when it is, August? No, I think
Yeah.
August, but for the Women Photographer Night. So you don't have to do a whole show, just, send 10, 8, whatever, 15 pictures, and then we can get a nice representation of different photographers. And again, since now we have more people than the very beginning, how many would be interested in presenting or sharing some of the um, cephalopod, squid, octopus, and cuttlefish pictures? Do you have, how many would like to? Okay, I see the thumbs up here. I had two others before.
Virginia and I both have a lot.
Okay, good, good. Um, so yeah, that is June, July, July. So I will be contacting you early on because I know a lot of people have them because even if you're shooting here, our squid fests that we have here in the summertime. So that would be wonderful too, and certainly in the tropics, all the other cuttlefish and octopus. So yeah, please do send that. Now, it's a question. Is these theme nights, it does take away from what we've traditionally done, not that I'm anchored to that, but it used to be, three presenters of various topics, editing, whatever, travel. And we have a few theme ones this time. is that having the theme nights a plus?
Plus.
You do? You think so?
like
Yeah. I get one, two, couple of head shakes,
I like it.
thumb up, and the like. Okay. All right. Then we will continue with that. Because the Mexico night it received the second most votes. First one I think was Bon Air, then it was Mexico. And only there were 5 people who presented. I thought with the number of people who wanted it, I thought we were going to have, beaucoup pictures of Mexico. But anyway, I guess people just wanted to see Mexico, and they got to see it nicely tonight. So,
I liked it that it made me go back through photos.
okay. Well, that's certainly what I did. I went back to 2012, going through pictures.
Yeah, and
Um,
mine were from 2018. So yeah, same thing. Like going back, I'm like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, there was all sorts of cool stuff.
yeah. Things you forgot all about. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And reprocessing some with the current technology that I kind of thought weren't as good, and now processing them again.
Yep. Yep. That definitely updated software is terrific. A real boom. Um, okay. So I think that might be it. I don't have anything else for tonight. Um, so I thank everyone for participating. And then once again, there is another spot open for June. So we have 2 already, and there's one. So if anybody has something that they would like to share, whether it's again, photo editing, new software, pictures that you've been accumulating from here or anywhere, uh, give me a shout. Let Whitney know, send me a text, email, and uh, we'd like to fill that spot. Then after that, we're pretty much filled. So anyway, thank you all.